Pranamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadasi, the 11th chapter of Sri Vidyaranya, and this 11th to the 15th, the end of this book, contains about the Ananda aspect of it, Ananda Prakaranam. So the first 5 chapters we said about the Sat, related to Sat, which is called Tattva Prakaranam, and the second one is Deepa Prakaranam, related to the Chitta aspect of it, and now we are doing the Ananda, and from 11th to 15th is with the Ananda Prakaranam. So it is Satchit Ananda aspects are being discussed in the Panchadasi. And this 11th chapter we said it's a Brahmanande Yoganandaha, let's say the title. So looking from the Brahmananda and how that expresses itself in terms of other Anandas. And once you know Brahmananda, then there is nothing else, mission accomplished. Everyone is looking for Ananda only, for happiness only, but searching for the tiny happiness that one gets through sense enjoyments and so on and so forth, and they ultimately lead you to suffering, as we discuss here. But one who knows that I am Brahman, the nature of the self, it's not knowing something as an object, but therefore Brahmavit has to be Atmavit. That's what scripture says. That's what Vidyaranya emphasizes in the second sloka of this. As is Brahmavit Paramapnoti Sokam Tarati Cha Atmavit. So Sokam Tarati, he crosses the ocean of the samsara because he has realized himself, I am full by myself as I am. As Krishna says, Atmani eva Atmanatushtaha. He is reveling in himself by himself because the self that he revels is full by itself. That means it is a source of happiness. I revel on something that gives you happiness. And therefore, if the self gives itself is happiness, then I revel in myself. I don't depend on something other than myself for my happiness. That is freedom. A slavery is where I depend on something or somebody else for my happiness. If they come, I am happy. If they are not coming, I am happy. So this is the problem, is that I have no control on the other. Therefore, I will always be dependent or slave to something else. And therefore, if things are conducive, I am happy. If things are not conducive, I am not happy. So therefore, happiness, if it depends on something other than myself, it's going to be asking for trouble. It's called slavery. Whereas if happiness depends on myself, there is never a time I am not there, because I am there to even to say I am not there. So therefore, that who is Atmavit is also Brahmavit, because that Atmavit, knower of oneself, is knower of the infiniteness, because Atma is Brahman. So that understanding comes from the Vedanta. So if once you know I am infinite, there is no limitations of any kind. Desha, Kala, Vastu. Desha space-wise, Kala time-wise, Vastu object-wise, I am not limited, and therefore I have no longing for something to fill me up, because if there is a limitation, I want that, I want this, I want that, like a rat race. And therefore, when I am full by myself as I am, then I don't depend on anything other than myself. That is being emphasized in this chapter. In the process, if everybody is afraid of because of the limitations, then your fear become the second. So even the gods are also afraid of, because even gods' positions are also gained by process of evolution only. Every jiva can gain their positions according to Vedanta. So even those gods are limited by other gods, obviously. So they have limitations of desha kala vastu, time-wise, space-wise and object-wise. So there may be longer time compared to anybody, and they occupy a lot more space than anybody, yet they are still not infinite. Only Brahman alone infinite, and in infinite there cannot be anything other than itself. Therefore, if there are more other gods, one limits the other. So here he gives an example of even the sun god or the wind god and the Vakni Indra in the last sloka. Vayu Suryo Vaknir Indraha Muttur Janmantarentaram Krutva Dharmam Vijananto Api Asmad Ditya Charantihi Asmad Bhitya Charantihi. So they move around with the fear of the Brahman, totality, Ishvara, where he is a controller of all the phenomenal forces also. So they are under control. That's our emphasis here is. So how to get that highest happiness is being emphasized here, and we'll read the sloka 5. Anandam Brahmano Vidwan Anandam Brahmano Vidwan Nabhiveti Kutaschana Nabhiveti Kutaschana Etameva Taponnaisha Etameva Taponnaisha Chinta Karmagni Sambrhuta Chinta Karmagni Sambrhuta. So Anand together, Anandam Brahmano Vidwan Nabhiveti Kutaschana Etameva Taponnaisha Chinta Karmagni Sambrhuta. So Brahmanaha, the Brahmanaha means of the Brahman, of the nature of the reality. Anandam is the nature of Ananda, is the nature of full. That means Anandam is completely full, no limitations of, because it's a Brahman. Brahman being infinite, there cannot be any limitations, and it's an absolute infinite. Like we have different infinities in the mathematics. So two parallel lines meet infinity, we say. But two parallel lines are limited by their spacing, that is finite. And you can have any infinities, even the pi series are infinite, but their value is limited. But those are called finite infinities. But this is absolute infinity in all directions, space-wise, time-wise, and therefore it's essentially is Brahmana, and therefore no limitations. So therefore it says essentially Anandam Brahmaha. The source of happiness is coming from Brahman, and I am Brahman. That Vidwan, once who knows that because Atmavit Brahmavit, because Atma eva Brahman. So therefore this I am Atma Brahman. Why? How do you get that knowledge? From the scriptures only. And therefore once you know that, na bhiveti kutaschana, there is no fear from anybody, because there is nobody else. Once you know that I am Brahman, there is no one to be afraid of. Na bhiveti kutaschana yetameva taponnaisha chinta karma agni sambrutaha. So the karma agni sambrutaha. So what happened to all the actions that I have been doing in order to become fulfilled? It is karma agni sambrutaha, all born out of fire of karma. Esha chintaha, and the worry during that natapet will not bother a jnani. So etam eva natapet. So knowledge of this etam eva jnanat, having known this only, having known what? Having known that aham brahmasmi only, that natapet. There is no suffering result, because there is nothing to worry about. There is no dvaita, there is no duality, because any duality contributes to suffering. Udara mantaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Even a speck of difference makes the suffering coming. So it is essentially, it says there is nothing other than oneself. So once you knows that, evam vidwan, so Brahmano vidwan nabhiveti kutaschana. Therefore, he has no fear of anything. So we'll do this chapter 6, this sloka 6. Evam vidwan karmani dve, evam vidwan karmani dve, hitvatmanam smaret sada, hitvatmanam smaret sada, krudacha karmani syatma, krudani krutvacha karmani swatmarupe naivaisha pasyati, swatmarupe naivaisha pasyati. Read properly. Evam vidvan karmani dve, hitvatmanam smaret sada, kutvacha karmani swatma, swatma rupena naivaisha pasyati. Atma rupena eva esha pasyati. Evam, close the door, Marika. So evam, in this manner, vidwan dve karmani, the wise person, dve karmani hitva. So the two types of karmas are being closed. So what are the good actions as well as bad actions? So evam, having known vidwan dve karmani, the two types of actions that are hitva, so having given up. So a wise person gives up the two actions that are two types of actions. Actions can be divided here is only in two types, either good actions or bad actions. And neutral actions, depending upon the one or the other two in terms of the result of that action. So, evam vidwan dve karmani hitva, having given up, atmanam sada smared, having devoted and thinking about atma sada smared, all the time contemplating on that. How does he give up the actions, the two actions? By constant contemplation on the self. So how does that do? Is it not an action? It's not an action because it's his own, my own nature. It's something other than some object. Then you have to think about it. There is the duality, the thinker and the thought that he's going to talk about. But if my own self, it's just natural that I am, period, end of it. So that itself is thinking in the direction so that the mind doesn't think anything other than myself. So essentially the vidwan, so atmanam sadasmari, he says, krute karmani swatma rupena pasyati. Krute karmani eva swatma rupena pasyati. So swatma rupena eva pasyati. Krute karmani, even while performing action, here is a statement, he doesn't perform an action. Even when the actions are being performed as the other people see it, krute karmani, he will only see it as atma rupena, swa atma rupena, my own glory here. So how is this expressed? Let's ask simple example is that a gold becoming into ornaments. This we discussed before. Gold becoming ornament. So gold becoming into ornament is nothing, it really doesn't become an ornament because the ornament is only transformationless transformation. It's called vivarta. Vivarta means it is apparent transformation. So it appears to be transformed, but at the same time it's not transforming. It is not transferring. So gold remains as a gold. It was gold, it is gold, it shall be gold. You may call it a ring and a bangle and a necklace and a bracelet or different names and forms. So, but those names or forms are only superficial names for gold only in those forms. So gold exists in the forms. So therefore Atma itself expressing in different works, both good and bad. This is what in the 11th chapter of Gita, where Krishna shows in the 10th chapter, he is only showing the beautiful parts. That's called Vibhuti Yoga. Wherever there is a Vibhuti, know that it's mine or it's me only expressing there. So in the Vibhuti Yoga, only great things are being pointed out as a part of the Lord. But in the 11th chapter, not to mistake that it's only the good things about the God, but even the bad things also are nothing but his own creation or his own vibhuti. So good or bad, both are his own expressions only. So therefore, in the Vishwarupa, where Arjuna ultimately is afraid of looking at it because he is afraid of things are happening at the level of a cosmic level, and seeing lot of destruction also happening there, and thinking that this is afraid of those things, he essentially wants him to withdraw that. But the 11th chapter indicates that the total Atma, Brahman, includes everything, because if it includes only good part and not the bad part, then it becomes a limitation of infinity. Infinite cannot exclude anything. So essentially, in the other acharyas interpret that the Brahman has to be only Ananta Kalyana Gunam, infinite auspicious qualities only, and therefore Nirgunaha they interpret as not having a bad qualities. But if there are bad qualities, how do they exist? What is the source of them, and what is the locus of them? And if their bad qualities have a locus, and the locus or loci is different from the Lord, then we have a real problem, because God gets limited by that. So therefore, a correct understanding is it includes everything. Just as when you say electrons, protons are fundamental particles, it can exist in the form of delicious foods as well as a stinking garbage also. Both are electrons, protons, neutrons. Same thing expressing itself in different names and forms. It's a glory of the electron protons to express themselves either in the delicious food or in the garbage also. But from the point of electron protons, they are unaffected by the superficial attributes of whether it's a delicious food or garbage. But they have nothing to do with any of them. In the same way, it is untouched by the happening at a superficial level. Gold is untouched by the qualities of the ring and the bangle and the necklace. This is a good ring, that is a bad ring, this is a wedding ring, that is an insulting ring. All those things have nothing to do with the gold. It's only superficial attributes that we superimpose on top of it. In the same way, from the point of Brahman, Evan Vidwan, so ones who know that Aham Brahmasmi, Karmani Dve Hitva. So I give up the actions. Give up meaning what? Give up the agency of the actions. So how do you give up because nahi kachit kshanam api jatu tushasya karma katu. No one gives up any actions. Then how can he give up? He gives up, what he gives up is not the action per se. What he gives up is, I am a doer. The agency of the action. All he will know that in my presence the whole thing is happening. And that's why in the previous chapter it is a Nataka Deepam. It has been illustrated where the illumination is illumining whether it's a tragic scene or it's a comic scene. But the lights that are illumining the stage have nothing to do with the nature of the drama there. And the lights say, I am neither good action nor bad action affects of me. But in my presence, the whole thing is happening. So, Maya Adhyakshena Pravritti Suyate Sacharacharam. Krishna says, in my guidance or presidentship, the whole Prakriti is being done. So, in the same way, Prakriti does all the actions. So, Prakrutyaivacha Karmani Kriyamanani Sarvasaha. Yah pasyati tadatmanam akartaram sapasyati. So Prakriti is doing, Prakriti includes this body, mind and intellect. So body, mind and intellect of a jnani, or the one who had realized of the jnani is body and mind intellect, will be performing as usual, and in fact maybe performing better than anybody else, yet he will say, I am akarta, I am not a doer. Therefore, Krishna says in the 4th chapter, says, Karmanya karmaya paschyetu. So, Karmani akarmaya paschyetu. One who sees himself, I am not a doer, well, the actions are being done. Karmani akarmaya paschyetu. So, akarmani cha karmayaha. So even when not performing action, he sees himself as though he is dynamically involved. Say, this is it not a contradiction? One type says he is not acting at all when the actions are going down. When there is no action itself, he as though acting everything. Just as you say, who created this universe? This continuously creation is being done and sustained and goes back into because of the Ishvara. But at the same time, Ishvara say, I have nothing to do with the universe. So in the presence of, say, sun is causing the whole problem on the life here. So dynamic, if there is dynamism where morning life, activities of the morning, and when sun goes to sleep and everybody goes to sleep, and again say, the whole world and actions are being done. If there is no sun at all, then it's a dead planet, because planet cannot live. Life is sustained because of the sun only. So, but at the same time, sun has nothing to do with it. If you ask sun, why are you maintaining all the lives here in this planet and all that, he says, I have nothing to do. I am self-shining, self-lumining, and I am only existing in the sky. But life is pulsating in my presence. Without me, they cannot be there. But I myself have nothing to do with it. So, karmani akarmaya pasyetu. Aseme akarmani cha karmayaha. So, saha buddhiman manusheshu sayuktaha kusta karma krutu. He is the one who is intelligent. Saha buddhiman. Means who is a real wise man who knows that I am not doing action when the actions are being done, and think that he is doing action when there is no action is being done. It depends upon the perspective of the other jivas who look at Mahatma. From the Mahatma, he is working so hard, we will say, because he is traveling all over the world, preaching everybody, and so on. At the same time, he doesn't do anything. I have to tell the incidents that what happened with my Gurudev Swami Chinmayanji. So that was the last camp by Gurudev. After that, he passed away after that only, and he reached the highest samadhi, and that means the body has been dropped off. And last camp was in Washington DC, and I was supposed to be in charge of the camp, but I didn't do anything, but everybody else was doing all over. That's operation has been handed over everybody, and they're taking care of it. So there's a youth camp along with the adult camp, and there's one who in charge of the youth camp. He had some problem with the youth because they were not following instructions. Particularly, they were not wearing a proper dress and proper behavior in the class and all that. So however much he could not control, so he wanted the Gurudev to tell them to behave properly or to dress properly and so on and so forth. And he was afraid to inform Gurudev to instruct the students. So he wanted to know if some organizers can help in terms of communicating to Gurudev. And everybody transfers that kind of responsibility, everybody passed down to me. So I took him to Gurudev's room, and when he saw me coming with this guy, he knows that he's in charge of the youth camp, and he knows that there is something as important, otherwise he won't see me coming there. And so he says, yes. So he said, what is the problem? So we sat down, and I was trying to explain what the problem is, and I was telling Gurudev instructions of how we should teach the youth. You have to tell them this, that. He was 1, 2, 3. I was giving instructions to them what to do in terms of what to teach and how to instruct and all that. He was looking at me curiously and then said, "You have been following me for so many years. Is that all you have learned?" This is what the statement he made. This is a very striking statement. And then he said, "Do you really think I am the one who talks on this stage?" He said, "I know what my mistake was. Immediately I got up, put Sashtanga Namaskaram and hold on to his feet and then looked at him. He was completely a furious face to a most compassionate face, transformed in no time. He said, okay, get up. So when I sat down, he says, okay, we will address it, you go. So that was my last lesson, because I was learning more outside the class than inside the class by how he behaves, how he teaches and all that. And he was the one who said, I have understood Vedanta and therefore I can teach. So this is a statement where karmani akarmayah paschyetu, where he himself is giving an example that I am not this real speaker, because his body is functioning only in that time, only maybe less than 20 or 30% heart is functioning, and he is to collapse after the class is over. The body is to collapse because the body could not take that strain. But once he is on the stage, it was so enthralling and reverberating with a thundering voice. He was giving talks, and it was a very strange to watch. At last, the doctors had to advise him not to talk for a couple of days until body settles down. That is the nature of the teaching itself. And here we talk about how a Mahatma acts without acting. So, karmani akarmayah paschyetu, one who sees himself is not a doer while doing is going on. Akarmani cha karmayah. And when there is no action, when the actions are being done also. So, even if body is not in a position, by sitting down and sarve janantu Sukhinaha sarve bhavantu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma katchid dukkha bhave. When a Mahatma prays, it means it. We just go gudu with the slokas only and repeat as though mechanically, but he doesn't do mechanically. He identifies himself with the sarve janas sukhino bhavantu. Identify himself with the totality, with the Ishvara, and feels that every jiva is ultimately sukham, means recognize the highest reality. So that is the goal of, or at least the prayer of a Mahatma. So Mahatma sitting in a meditation, he is doing more than we all doing for morning to evening and so on. There is a story that Gurudev gave. And one person was sitting on the bank of a pond and throwing a stone and looking at it. And one farmer was essentially a milk fellow who wanted to sell the go there, the distant town, sell the milk and come back. He was a hard-working farmer, and he was going to the village in the morning and saw this person sitting there taking one stone and throwing into the pond and just sitting there and observing there, and then after some time again taking another stone and throwing it. So he says, my God, this fellow is sitting and useless and not doing any work, and sitting here not doing anything. And he went. When he came back again in the afternoon, this man was still sitting there and taking stone and throwing it in the. So he said, my God, this guy is useless to the society, and on so on and so forth. He was almost like abusing him for not doing or wasting time, wasting everybody's time and so on and so forth. Wasting precious time and be a burden to the society. But what happens is, this man taking a stone, observing how the ripples are forming on the pond, how they are expanding, and he captured that in his art ultimately. That artist survived more than the farmer that was going. Nobody remembers farmer, but they remember this artist because his mind was working well, others think that he was not doing any work. That is, a karmanija karmaya paschyetu, one who is performing an action while no action is not being performed, at the same time realizing that the whole action is being done by the Prakriti itself. So you can play the role while on the stage in the Jagannatakam, the drama of life. There, the drama, you will be acting. At the same time, it has no meaning other than just like playing a game where you play, and even if you're lost, you enjoy playing. And what's the big deal? All is the ball going that side, and this ball is coming back again. Ball is going. What has you accomplished? Nothing is accomplished. Yet, action being done. That's what is essentially acting while no acting. That is a recognition of that true here. Both the good side and bad side actions are being done, and there's nothing is affected by the realized person. Evam vidwan karmani dve hitva. So he gives up the agency of action. This is a good action, this is a bad action. Actually, what comes out from him is only good actions, as we will see in the next talk. With that, we will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.